everyone, welcome to the Real Estate Tax Tips channel. My name is Cherry Chan, a chartered professional accountant located in Oakville, Ontario, Canada. I'm here today with Stephen Phillips,
Hello.
a veteran real estate investor and also, I guess, a condo property manager as well, once upon a time.
That's right.
And most importantly, the iWIN real estate coach here with me to talk about Belleville or small town investment versus big town pre-construction home investment. Why are you in Belleville and why are you selling houses in Belleville versus all these big pre-construction condo or Hamilton? Because I only invest in Hamilton. Now, Steve, tell us a little bit about you.
Yes. So thank you. I'm originally from Pickering, Ontario. Grew up there. When I came out of school from Fanshawe in London from business marketing, I started working with my father-in-law in property management. He managed condominiums and across the GTA. And at 23, I started working for him and managed a portfolio of about 12 condos, somewhere around 1,000 to 1,200 units, I guess, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Wow.
With very little experience and had to learn everything about condos as quick as I possibly could.
Property management is so much fun. So what's the most fun story that you could come up?
Yeah, so I managed condos for about 5 years. And towards the end of my time there, I managed a pretty high profile building in downtown Toronto. Somewhere around that time, we had a resident jump from one of our units 47 floors down and set the unit on fire before he jumped.
Oh no.
And it was very tragic, but it also created a really crazy scenario where there was water from the sprinkler systems down 12 floors and there was smoke up 8 floors. The owner lived in India and his son was here at Waterloo as the only estate representative, and so it was a very tumultuous time. The residents that lived there were students on visas, and they had subleased from another set of students on visas, and nobody that was in the home was actually on the lease, and it was a big mess. So yeah, that was probably the craziest.
So in that case, who paid for the damage?
The Condo Corp's insurance company paid for the damage. There was a deductible from the owner who had to pay $25,000 as a deductible to start. And then it kind of got a little bit
Messy.
Yeah, it got messy, let's just put it that way. It was about 1.5 years or so before the whole thing got resolved and every unit affected got worked, done and completed, and yeah, it's messy.
Oh my God, like imagine, that's why I'm not living in the condo right now.
Yeah, your neighbors affect you in such a way, you don't really understand that until you're in that lifestyle. And it's a really good lifestyle for a lot of people. But when things happen like laundry machines overflowing or any of that stuff, it will take out multiple units. Condos are messy when things go wrong. There's a lot of legalities behind it. So yeah.
Well, I heard that you're now on to something that's more interesting. You have your own business.
Yeah, so my wife and I started a business in Prince Edward County just about 4.5 years ago. We do countertops and kitchens, things like that. I ended up there, moved from after doing duplexes and conversions in Oshawa and training with some really good people there. Moved out that way for my kids to be in a smaller town, a smaller community. And then we started this business after doing a flip. We flipped an Airbnb in Prince Edward County, realized there was a need for some more people doing countertops and kitchens, and so we opened that business up and have been going for about 4.5 years.
How does that compare to real estate investing? I mean, I'm a business owner, entrepreneur myself. I can tell you, real estate is the easiest.
It's a lot easier. Yeah, I think the issues are always a little more predictable. I find that real estate is a little easier to handle and manage people, but I mean, business has so many intricate parts to it, and there's a lot of pieces and there's a lot of moving parts. And yeah, it's very stressful. It's very stressful to have a business. So I like real estate. I think real estate is something you can do full-time as a full-time investor. It's also something you can do as a side hustle or a part-time person who, if you put the right team around you. And business, you really have, it's struggle to do that. It's hard to put a business as a side hustle.
Oh, absolutely, for sure. And I know you are now in that area, and you are one of our iWIN team's coaches, and
Yes.
you focus on Belleville.
Yes.
And I'm like, Belleville, like the only time I've ever heard of Belleville is the time that I got a ping from someone on Match.com 15 years ago when I was still looking for my partner. Please don't tell Erwin. But that's the guy was from Belleville, and I've never heard about Belleville until recently. I know that the market has been crazy, so Belleville's name pop up more and more.
Yes.
Why Belleville?
So initially, the biggest thing that drives people to Belleville is price. We are $200,000 cheaper than anybody else essentially in the GTA. And I mean, you can find prices that are cheaper. The mix is that there's usually nobody or nothing going on in those places. And Belleville's the opposite. And so there's lots of people moving to the area. The population's actually growing quite a bit. We were 50,000 pre-COVID, and we're now at 57,000. And that number seems to be climbing quite quickly. So it's a market that's expanding. There's new businesses coming to the area. There's a lot of really fundamental growth going on in there. And yet, with the recent pullback, the prices have still pulled back 200,000 in line with everybody else. So, you know, if you're a $1.3 million house in the Oakville or Hamilton, you may have dropped to 1.1 or $1 million. In Belleville, you were a $600,000 house. You're now a $400,000 house.
Oh, there's $400,000 house available?
We just did our Belleville Street Smart tour. 2 of our 4 houses were under 400,000 or under 500,000, pardon me.
So if it is a $500,000, I assume it's a single family home that you
Yes.
can convert into a duplex, a typical duplex conversion type of property. So if it is something like that, $500,000, how much rental do you need to put in? And what's the rent after?
So a lot of your followers are going to be very, I mean, it's going to feel comfortable, right? So it's the same deals you've looked at in any other market. You're looking at brick bungalows for the most part, 60s built, high ceilings, side separate entrance. So everything you're used to looking at is really what you're going to find. Rental wise, you're going to be in the same general costs. Depending whether you're the GC or you're hiring somebody to do the work will depend the budget. It can be anywhere from 90,000 to 130,000, depending on when you're doing it. If COVID related supply chain issues are occurring or labor shortages, all those things.
The usual stuff.
So let's just say that's our general rental budget. You will be in there. Now, the best thing about Belleville that I've found for a lot of the people on the tour is that our rents are still very high compared to a small town.
Okay, so what's a three-bedroom, top floor?
Right now we're seeing well-renovated properties going somewhere between 21 and 2,300 for the top floors.
Plus utility?
Plus utilities.
Plus utility, that's really good.
If you're doing the renovation properly and separating all of your utilities, then that's possible. Belleville does have some issues generally with water meters, so it's hard to get a second water meter into properties in Belleville, so sometimes there's things rolled in as far as water is concerned or any of that. So usually it's always Hydro Plus, but you can find some inclusion. So 2350 maybe including water, but your hydro would be separated.
That's exactly what I'm getting from my Hamilton property, but it is at $850 purchase price. But that purchase price was last fall as well. So I don't know if it has come back down to the last fall, the price last fall, because it went all the way up to over $1 million. 1.1, 1.2. So I don't know where the market is in Hamilton, but I know that the rent is very similar. What about the basement?
Basements, again, you're going to get an aggressive number for a very well renovated property, and you can hit as high as I've seen 1900s. Similar utility features involved. So I think conservatively, I like to tell people 16 to 1700 is a very conservative number for the basements. 2000 to 2200, a very, very conservative number for the upper floors. And again, you're looking at a $449 purchase price on the property.
That is crazy. Maybe I should go on the Belleville Street Smart tour.
It's like taking a time machine. I think a lot of the times I'm telling people it's like investing in where your market was, but it would have been 2015, 2016. That's the numbers I was seeing in Oshawa and Whitby at the time. It's very similar. It's just the rents are fast forwarded. So you've got a little bit of a higher rent.
Hey there, sorry to interrupt the video. I know you're learning something valuable, and I love sharing strategies to build wealth and achieve financial freedom with you. But if you want want to learn even more wealth building strategies from top experts like Derek Foster, Jesse Itzler, and if you want to achieve financial freedom faster so you can finally live your best life, then I highly recommend that you save your seat at the upcoming Wealth Hacker Conference that's happening on November 12th, Saturday, 2022, live in Toronto. Whether you are a real estate or stocks geek like me, or you are a crypto head, or even a business owner or aspiring entrepreneur, grab your tickets now because we'll be sharing all the best practices for building wealth across these asset class at the Wealth Hacker Conference. Come November 12th, live and in person in Toronto. So then you are really getting cash flow in these numbers.
Yes, what you struggle with in Belleville, and I think struggle is an optimistic yeah, because I think if that's your struggle, I mean, it's good times. BRRRR strategies need to sit and soak the way that they used to in 2015. So I think a lot of investors maybe knew and maybe weren't doing BRRRRs in 2015. If you have done BRRRRs in 2015, you remember you would have to leave it for 12 to 24 months before you could refi and pull all your equity out. And so it's similar in that nature. For your people that like multis, triplexes and fourplexes are selling for under 800,000 in Belleville. So 700,000, 650 can get you a triplex. That number is actually a downward pressure on your refi number because even though you have a duplex, those other additional rent streams are so much cheaper at 700,000, 800,000. They're not going to allow you to refi up around 850 like you're seeing in Hamilton.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. So refi is a pressure. It's going to be challenging, a little bit more challenging. But then the rent is there. So I mean, for a lot of people who are already maxed out in terms of the number of properties that they would be able to qualify, and if they are qualifying based on cash flow, because a lot of lenders out there are only qualifying you based on cash flow, Belleville would be where...
I think it's a very strong market for cash flow. Where some of my clients or people that are reaching out to me, they're looking for instant cash flow. If you're buying already done triplexes or fourplexes, you have to remember that 3 years ago, the rents in Belleville were around $900 to $1,000 for a 2-bedroom. So some of those properties still have old leases in place, and you have to work through those old leases. They may not cash flow right away unless you're getting vacant possession. So little things like that are going to be nuances that people may not have run into yet. But I mean, there's lots of opportunity within those properties, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I could totally see it. I mean, I was just in Ottawa, and the numbers that I was getting there is also very similar to the price in in Hamilton and Oshawa area. Nothing compared to like Belleville. So it seems like it's an up and coming.
I think so. Yeah, I think geographically we're squished between Kingston, which is a very growing market, and the Durham region, which is expanding rapidly, right?
So you got both sides coming.
Yeah, you have both sides coming. We're exactly an hour apart from each one. So for a lot of people, that's now a bedroom community. If you used to drive into Toronto from Pickering, like my parents did 25 years ago, it was an hour to get to where they were working. It's a similar drive for a lot of people who may be working at Darlington Power Plant or somebody who may be interested in working in the Ajax or Pickering area, similar nature.
Okay, cool. So for those of you who are investing not in Hamilton, not in Belleville, tell me below where you are investing. It's going to help us understand the market a lot better, especially local Ontario market.
Yes.
So with that, thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
For coming here to talk to me about Belleville versus Hamilton.
Yeah. Well, we'll get you there sometime. I think you're going to be out and come and see me soon.
Hopefully. Maybe a golf game would be great. There.
That would be great.
Yes, thank you so much. For those of you who are who like the video, make sure you share with people that would find this video interesting and hit the subscribe button. Until next time, thank you for watching.
See ya.